Okay, guys, let's get started. Review sheet. Any questions about the exam coming up on Monday? All the information is on the review sheet, or I've given it to you before. Last night, I emailed the DSP students whose names I have and given you the exam location and time. And if there are any issues with that information, or if you haven't seen that email yet and you believe you're a DSP student, you need to get in touch with me ASAP, okay? No questions? Review session, a happy Halloween review session. I'm sure what you wanted to do on Halloween. Come to a review session. And I have office hours right before the review session. Yeah. For the articles, how in-depth do we have to know them? Well, how in-depth did you have to know the first set of articles? Similar. You can count on there being a question. Okay, if you remember from last time, there's a question about every empirical article. So there will be this time, too. So are we going to ask uber details about significance tests and exact methodological details? No, but you need to know the main take-home points of these studies. Okay? So there will always be a question on each empirical article, if that wasn't obvious. Other questions? Okay, remember, studying-wise, you want to make sure you can explain it and have a dialogue with somebody about these concepts, not just memorizing. And that you should really be shooting for a 20 out of 20 on that short answer. Okay? Okay, let's turn to compliance and obedience today. If you recall, we started talking about conformity, compliance, and obedience on Monday as our sort of last chunk of the second unit of the course, talking about how all of these really reflect some sort of social influence on our behavior, and in that sense is utterly social psychological, because it's about others changing our behavior, and at the end of the day, that is what social psychology is about, how the social situation influences us, and how we, as part of the social situation, influence others. But we talked about how these three different concepts sort of differ in terms of how much pressure they put on the individual. There's going to be cases, and I think I gave some examples where it's a little bit blurry, whether it's conformity, compliance, or obedience. It doesn't matter. The point is that all of these reflect the social environment influencing your behavior in some way, in either a rather indirect, mild manner, or in a very in-your-face, direct manner, such as the case when it comes to obedience. We're going to focus first today, though, on compliance, which is a change in behavior that you exhibit due to someone making a direct request of you. It's not something you have to do, but somebody's asking you to do that. Now, if you are interested in compliance, or even if you think you're not, I strongly recommend, if you enjoy psychology a lot, this book by Bob Cialdini, C-I-A-L-D-I-N-I, Bob Cialdini. He is one of the elderly statesmen of social psychology. He wrote this book called Influence. It's been translated to 300 different languages, something like it sold millions of copies, and it is such a fun read. Okay, Influence. And it talks about all these kinds of examples. It details his experiences when he went undercover as a car salesman. Okay, so he could study social influence. It is a fabulous book for the lay public, but you will appreciate it because it's chock full of social psychology. And a lot of what we know about compliance comes from Bob Cialdini's work or was inspired by Bob Cialdini's work. Okay, so it's called Influence by Bob Cialdini. So we're going to talk about a lot of what he talks about in this book, which are different strategies or principles to have in mind when you're trying to get someone to comply, or when you sort of want to be on alert for somebody using strategies on you to try to get you to comply with their request. We're going to talk about 4 different kinds of strategies. You know them intuitively. You've been the victim of them. You have perpetrated or used these strategies before. But let's delve a little deeper besides just defining them and try to understand the psychology behind them, behind why it is they work. So the first 2 compliance techniques. Ooh, close. Okay. First 2 compliance techniques involve shifting from a small request to a large request. That is part of the strategy. Starting off small and then going for the goal in terms of what you actually want from somebody else. What am I talking about here? One of them is something you've probably heard about before, a strategy called the foot in the door technique. And you have probably some imagery of somebody at your door knocking, trying to sell you knives or vacuum cleaners or get you to sign a petition. Maybe you don't because that doesn't happen in everyday life anymore. No one answers their door because they're scared. At least they are in my neighborhood. I'm always telling my kids, shh, pretend like we're not home. Turn off the lights, don't move. And they're like, what's going on, Mom? I said, we don't know who it is. Anyway, okay, this is the world we live in, okay? But in the olden days when it was safe to open the door to a stranger, I don't know why we're laughing, this is horrible, but you can imagine the salesman, getting their foot in the door before you're slamming it on them, like not interested, okay? You get that foot in the door, you're making an initial small request, and once you get compliance, which is pretty likely given the smallness of your initial request, then you go for a slightly larger request. You get compliance to that one, now you got your knee in the door. You get compliance to that slightly bigger, now you got your whole darn leg in the door, okay? So an example here would be, you're walking in front of Berkeley Bowl, wherever you guys go shopping, and there's those people outside asking you to sign a petition. It only take 30 seconds of your time. Can you sign this petition in favor of blah, blah, blah proposition? Oh, 30 seconds, sure. You sign it. Oh, terrific. Okay, and it would really help if you could just donate any amount. $2, $5, $10. They got their foot in the door, you signed the darn petition, and now they're making a bigger request of you. Okay, a monetary donation. You give that, and you go on and on. It's not clear that you'll continue to comply, but the idea is you start small, you get that compliance, and then the data show you have a better chance of getting compliance on the bigger request. And we'll talk about why that is the case, even though intuitively you know that's the case. We'll talk about why that is the case in just 1 minute. There's another technique that is used that involves a shift from small to large request, which is called lowballing. You make a reasonable request, you get compliance, and then you reveal the costly details, which in effect makes your request a lot bigger, okay, than it originally seemed. Classic example of this, okay, is you're buying a car, the dreaded car salesman interaction, right? They cite you a price for the car, you're like, sold. I'm good. We're going to do it for that price. 22 grand. That's it, right? Yeah, 22 grand. You comply. That is very reasonable for this wonderful car. Okay, let me just look at the paperwork. I got to talk to my manager. I'll be right back. Okay, you complied already. You want that car. You committed. Okay, they come back. Okay, great. Okay, so it's going to be 22,000 plus 3,000 for the stereo system and CD or whatever it's called these days and security system. Revealing the costly details. You've already complied. There is this tug to just go ahead and do it at that point. Another example. Oh, would you mind volunteering just an hour of your time this weekend to help clean the bay? It's really dirty. It's Earth Day or whatever it is. Just an hour of your time. Yeah, sure, no problem. It's going to be beautiful out this weekend. Terrific. We'll see you at 6 a.m. on Saturday, okay? And bring your gloves and some, work gear, okay? So you comply to a reasonable request, just an hour of your time on the weekend. And then the costly details are revealed that they need you for the 6 to 7 a.m. shift, okay? In both cases, you're shifting from small to large. Why do these techniques work at a psychological level? Given, or just intuitively, in English, why do you think these kind of techniques work some of the time at least? What's your sense? What's going on there? Why do you feel that, oh, okay, I'll just give $2 in? Yeah. Okay, you might feel guilty. Okay, what else?
So you could also just
Why? Why? You on? I know it's like the feelings there. We got to express it in words. Why? Why? Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you're committed already, so I might as well. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird to say, okay, I'll sign that petition in favor of Proposition X. There's no way I'm giving money toward that proposition. Hell no. Or I'll go help out. I care about the environment, but hell no, not at 6 a.m. Okay, there's a bit of a dissonance thing potentially going on. You're the kind of person, you've acted in a way that's consistent with being pro-environment, pro this proposition. To now say no to something that reflects the same position is potentially dissonance arousing. It's a commitment thing, like you said, but it's a dissonance thing. It would be inconsistent of you to agree to something that's pro-environment and then refuse to do something that's pro-environment. Okay, this is probably something that happens, it could happen over time, and it may not be as always a dissonance, a full-fledged dissonance experience. Another way to think about it, and this has more of a self-perception, informational, social influence kind of flavor to it, and what I mean by that is, maybe it's a topic you're not quite sure how you feel about. This proposition is new to you. You signed the petition. It sounds like, that's a good thing to support. But you didn't have well-developed attitudes about it before, and this is where self-perception theory might come in, if you recall. You might sort of use your own behavior as a source of influence about the right way to act. Well, I felt really good about signing the petition, so, it must mean that, I really do care a lot about education or taxes or whatever the proposition is about. Or, I was into volunteering for it. I must really care about that. So you're using yourself. You yourself is serving as a source of informational social influence. It's a self-perception theory kind of thing going on. Or, as these guys said, it could be a dissonance thing going on. Perhaps informational social influence. You're looking to your prior behavior as information about how to act in response to a subsequent request. But as these guys said, over time, or you could have the perception that, I'm the kind of person who's pro-environment, or I'm the kind of person who believes in this, or I'm the kind of person who has an attitude in favor of the environment. So to then do something against that position would be dissonance arousing. Okay? And so you wouldn't want to do that, or you'd want to reduce the feelings of dissonance that are arising when you want to say no to the second request by saying yes to the second request. With me? Can you guys give me a couple everyday examples of this, either made up or actual times when this has been used on you, or that you've used it on others? Yeah.
I can give you an example of the foot in the door.
Okay, foot in the door.
So I was at the mall one day. I don't know if you guys know the kiosks where they have like the hair products and stuff.
Yeah, kiosks in the mall where they have the hair products.
And they have the people that are like, yeah, take the sample. And it's like, okay, you want to take the sample, then you get reeled in, and they want to show you all your hair products and all the glitter. Let me do your hair, let me do that, and then you end up buying a $200 glitter.
Okay. I'm going to get a little nitpicky here, okay? That is a great example of a compliance technique, deliberate. They're trained to do that, okay? But I don't think that's exactly the foot in the door. It's going to be more like the, what do you guys think? It's a little bit blurry, but the request is take this, right? It's this technique where you give someone something and obligate them, okay? I think that's a little bit more, we're going to get to that in a second. Okay, let's get a clearer example of foot in the door. Another one out there, yeah. Totally. I mean, do you think she's conscious of that? Like she knows? Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, what would you say if she said like, hey, can you wash those 30 dishes? You'd be like, no, I'm busy. I got to do some work. Yeah. Another example. Yeah, Alex.
I've done this, had it done to me. If somebody says, let's go on a hike, then I'm thinking, okay, I got a problem. And then we get there and I realize we're going on like 10 on a hike.
Yeah, painful. Yeah, painful. Lowballing. One more example out there. Yeah. And are you trained to do that? Yeah, okay. So he's saying, when you work in retail, you get them to agree to the reward card sign up, which is easy to comply to because you get stuff out of it, and then you go for the, get that credit card in their wallet, okay? Very classic foot in the door stuff going on there. Okay, let's now look at the other two techniques, which reflect actually also a shift, but really the opposite kind of shift, that is from a large request to a small request. So you have the door in the face, door in the face, like you're sort of in their face technique, which involves making a really unreasonable request. Like, would you wash this, entire 2 sinkfuls of dishes? Heck no, okay? Oh, you know what, just wash all the plates. I'll take care of the utensils later. So you shift from something unreasonable. Could you volunteer 5 hours this weekend? We so many volunteers this weekend for this clean up the bay thing. You can't do 5 hours? Or how about just 2 then? Okay, the likelihood that people would comply with that second smaller request is greater when it was preceded by this unreasonable door in the face, big request. And we'll talk about why I have reciprocal concessions there in just a minute. For those of you up at 2 in the morning watching infomercials, you're well aware that that's not all, technique, right? They make this pretty large request for just 3 payments of $79.99. You can get this entire juice blender for your health set. Okay, 3 payments of $79.99. Let's see, that's $240 plus $12 shipping and handling fees. No way, who's got that kind of extra money? But immediately, if you order right now in the next 60 minutes, you will get not 1 blender but 2, and you'll get this extra recipe book, and you'll get this, spatula especially made for this blender or whatever, But that's not all technique. We probably don't use it ourselves, but we've all been there and seen these. And the reason why these work, I'm so nervous. No way, is because of reciprocity, the norm of reciprocity. This is a norm, a social norm. We talked about social norms, about reciprocating somebody doing something or giving you something and feeling like, or it is a norm to do something back, a give and take. This norm is one of those social norms that I believe a lot of evidence suggests is universal. There are cross-cultural differences in many kinds of norms, whether you shake people's hands, whether you use 2 hands to shake hands, all these different kinds of cross-cultural norms. Reciprocity is a nearly, if not universal norm, It is such a strong norm, again, you got to read Bob Cialdini's book, that we might even engage in irrational behaviors at times. There's this classic study that Bob Cialdini describes in his book, Influence, where a researcher sent out Christmas cards to X number of people that he did not know, and those people didn't know him, they're strangers, And the dependent variable in the study was how many people would send a Christmas card back. An absurd percentage of people send a Christmas card back because presumably there's this norm of reciprocity. Oh my God, somebody's sending me a Christmas card. I have no idea who this person is, but I better send something back, Now, the example she gave about the hair product kiosk people giving you something, this is something that is relying on the idea of norm of reciprocity. I'm giving you this gift. You didn't ask for it. I'm shoving it in your face. Hey, this is your hair product. Take this hair band. Isn't it cute? And the hope is that it'll elicit this feeling in you that you need to reciprocate, this norm of reciprocity that is deeply ingrained in us, That has evolutionary underpinnings in us to reciprocate. A lot of charities do this. They will send you, especially around Christmas time, they will send you, free address labels, or they'll send you free stickers, they'll send you something free, and then be asking for a donation. And they're counting on you feeling like you need to reciprocate the gift that you didn't even ask for. Okay, State Farm, my insurance company, always sends me labels. They're pretty, whatever, everything's cool. I use them. I'm like, yes, okay, good, I have them. Okay, I actually quite enjoy them. And it also makes me feel a sense of obligation to stay with them. Okay, irrationally, because any insurance company would send that to me. Okay, there is a strong normal reciprocity going on. Unreasonable request, the fact that somebody's shifting from this unreasonable request to a smaller request has the flavor of them doing something for you, therefore making you feel like you need to reciprocate. But this is really baloney, right? Hey, would you volunteer for 5 hours? Okay, just 2. How kind of you. Okay, I'll do the 2. Of course, this was not particularly kind of them. Okay, but again, that norm of reciprocity. But that's not all technique. Okay, I'm asking you this big, big thing, but to make it a little nicer, easier to spend that money, I'm going to throw in this extra stuff. Okay, they're giving you something. What are you going to do in return? Okay, I'll buy this blender, and I'll get 2. Okay. Okay, what are some everyday examples of this besides infomercials that we've all seen versions of? Anyone experience these techniques on them? We heard many examples of the other one. Anyone other than Alex for a second? Yeah. 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 Right.
Now, you seem like a couple, and so just sit tight. I'm going to go get these guys to give us a video. And then they come back with the price, actually still infringed.
Right.
It's like, oh no, so I've given you so much.
Right. So you got to comply now. I mean, yeah, exactly. And it's so hard to resist, right? Because it's socially inappropriate to call them on it, right? To say, come on, we both know. And I've done that before. It's very socially awkward. Don't do that. Okay? I bought my first car in Michigan. It's fresh PhD, living in New York. Suddenly I have to buy a car because I'm in Ann Arbor, and you don't walk everywhere in Ann Arbor because it's cold. And I'm like all social psychology, so I'm like trying to I know you're trying to do that, and they're like, you are weird, and it just was very uncomfortable. So don't do that. Just note in your head. But great example. Other examples of either one. Yeah. Yeah, that is a scary child to have, okay? I mean, she's like, oh, I want this pony, which you know is so not going to happen. Okay, then how about just this, stuffed pony, which is what you really wanted, okay? This makes me very nervous. I mean, I've not had this done on me with my kids, but I could see it coming. Okay, yeah. Absolutely. Well, this is the psychology of free samples. Okay, this is about the reciprocity norm. It may not be exactly either one of these, just like her example is, but it's operating on the same principle. How many of you guys eat those samples at Trader Joe's? I mean, I'm like so excited. What's going to be today? Okay, but how guilty do you feel not taking the package from the freezer? I always feel so guilty. I mean, I actually 9 times out of 10 get it, but I feel the need to say, oh look, I'm getting it. Because I feel like, see, I'm not just freeloading your free food here. I'm actually buying one. Okay, I feel the need to make it clear. Look, I'm doing the right thing. Okay, it works, and it really elicits this thing in us, this feeling like we need to reciprocate. Okay, take your eye clickers out. I think this should be pretty easy. To get more parents to sign up to volunteer at the upcoming school fundraiser, Molly approaches parents and asks if they can put up a post about the fundraiser on their Facebook pages. If Molly were to use the foot in the door technique to get more volunteers, what would she do next? A, convince, gosh, you guys can be fast. Okay, A, convince parents that their children deserve the kinds of extracurricular activities that are paid for by the proceeds from the fundraiser. Reveal to parents that the Facebook post needs to be in a very specific format that requires some time and effort to do it right. Ask parents who agree to do the Facebook post to sign up for a 1-hour time slot at the fundraiser event itself. Tell parents that they will feel good about themselves if they agree to volunteer at the fundraiser event. Which one is most consistent with foot in the door? This is, I'm assuming, quite simple. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is C. Right, C. Oh, man. Yay, okay, we got 7 with the E today. Okay, we're going higher on the E. Okay. Those other avian deer peoples, let's take a look here. A is not. B is more lowballing. Neither A or D is anything that we talked about, so the correct answer, I think, is O. Don't hit anything. Okay, clearly C in this case. If that was not clear to you, read about it some more, okay? Okay, what? Okay, all right, let's move on. Last topic. Obedience. We are going to talk about Milgram. You can put your pencils or fingers down because we're just going to talk about it, but because it's interesting and important and classic in our field and had a big influence in our field, not only in terms of the content of these studies and what they told us about human behavior, but also for a variety of other reasons, such as human subjects protocol, the proper way to treat subjects and so forth. All you have some familiarity with Milgram. You know that this research was instigated by Stanley Milgram in part in the wake of World War II and the atrocities committed during World War II and the Holocaust, trying to understand how it is that seemingly regular people, regular soldiers, would obey and agree to terminate thousands or hundreds of thousands of people, which presumably most people would find to be morally wrong to do. How is it that this would happen? As a social psychologist, okay, not a personality psychologist, not a clinical psychologist, Stanley Milgram did not believe that it could be possible that all of these people had a certain kind of personality or all of them had some sort of clinical disorder. That's what can account for this behavior. Instead, he looked at this situation. What is it about a social situation that could lead